So actually, with that, why don't we begin? And Puma, welcome to the Hero Zone. Thank you for speaking up in chat. All right, I'll see you later, Coffee. Thank you for hanging out. D&D is an equalizer in many ways. As many hobbies are. It's a commonality that we can find, right? It's a banner under which so many others can gather. But yeah, you're very welcome, Puma. And if you want to talk about your tabletop experience, if you're a newcomer and you have questions about the hobby, or if you've been playing all sorts of role-playing games forever and you're like, yeah, what's going on here? Well, hey, let's converse in that regard as well. Oh, not too distracted. All right, Coffee. All right. Yeah, a lot of people are getting their last-minute Pokemon stuff in before, Scarlet and Violet. Which, by the way, hi, YouTube from the past. If you're watching this not too far from now, hopefully you're enjoying Scarlet and Violet. And if this is years and years from now, well, I hope that you enjoyed it in the sequels to come. We're in a time capsule, everyone. Hi! Hi, YouTube. Everyone say hi, YouTube. And then the class goes, hi, YouTube. Yep, there we go, Kragar. All right, everyone. So, as you see, here I am talking about, love and peace, and we have a good old-fashioned classic D&D Tavern Brawl here in the Yawning Portal. I play tabletop with friends. Right now, a level 9 monk. You're level 9. Monk 8, Cleric 1. Very cool build. And a very spiritual sounding build too, Puma. If you have tales from the tabletop you would like to share, please do. And don't hesitate to ask questions. If you go, I ran into this and I'm not sure how to deal with this encounter in-game or out of game, if something your DM is doing or saying is causing some problems, or you have questions about how to handle a troublesome fellow player, well, maybe myself and others here can give you some insight on that and give you a couple ways to address what is going on. Ethereal attended a session 0 tonight. There will not be a session 1, Lamau. I'm never going to play. The DM and his girlfriend had a huge fight in the middle of it. It was intense and awkward. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Keys, that's my sentiment as well. Well, Ethereal, keep at it. I don't know if you made a listing on our looking for group segment of Discord, but hey, if any of you would like to play with someone who is eager and willing to have at least a somewhat normal D&D session, please contact Ethereal, because we are now 0 for 2 in starting the hobby, and I would prefer not to lose Ethereal as a potential player because this stuff goes on. Please, someone give Ethereal a good home. I'm begging, I'm pleading. But until you can find a game in which you can settle Ethereal in the workshops, you of course know that you're always welcome, and I appreciate you being here and continuing to give the hobby a chance. Yeah, I'm housebroken, I swear. I love it. All right, everyone. So, by the way, if you have your books handy because you want to play along at home, grab your player's handbook and or your Dungeon Master's Guide. Of course, you can get both of those at your friendly local game store. And if they've earned your business, please go support your FLGS. Buying a book like this means a lot to a store because it's a small investment back into it, and it means that you are going out of your way to give that business support. Whoever's behind that counter knows that you could buy that book Because look, even like Wizards liquidates these books on Amazon. This isn't a big secret. And it sucks as a business to have to compete against the publisher who's selling it for even arguably a little less expensive than I can get through my distributor. It sucks that's the case. And you better bet that everyone who goes into the store and purchases a book, there's an acknowledgement. You could have gotten it cheaper. You could have got it liquidated on Amazon. But you didn't, because that business has earned your business. And I hope they continue to do so. And there's mutual appreciation back and forth. But yeah, if y'all are playing along at home, go ahead and you can grab your books. We might reference back to them. It doesn't hurt to have on hand. Puma says, I body slammed a god off a 200-foot tower. It was beautiful. We're all homies, good sessions, playing Icewind Dale. Then you know what, Puma? Those are the amazing stories that I love hearing about, and we can have a lot of fun, and you can bring us right into the scene, describe what's going on to feel the icy winds of Icewind Dale, to describe the fall or, you know, the surge of victory, or even laugh sometimes at something that didn't go off properly. Those are role-playing opportunities, right? I have adventuring music, but I think it's getting a little loud. Hold on a moment, everyone. Let's put this down just a little bit further. All right, now, as you know, we have some NaNoWriMo going on. It is November. We're writing a novel, or we're outlining a novel together in our workshop. Can this translate to a campaign? Yeah, you can extrapolate elements of it. Just realize that writing a novel is different than writing a campaign. Because with the novel, we are in full control over all aspects of the characters. You can do that in a D&D game, but it's a sort of a pre-scripted, pre-written session, or, you know, where everyone kind of just goes along with what needs to be done. So in that case, it's more like a play, I guess, than role-playing. With, you know, truly random dice rolls or the like. So we're leaning into the fact that we can control these aspects when we build our characters, when we made our villain, etc., etc. And we are going to tap back into those resources, because tonight I want to show you ways that you can connect the characters together. We made individual characters, and they'll have their own little stories, they'll have their own little quirks and other fun things. But we also need to look at the group as a whole. What are each of them bringing to the narrative that we want to present? And how can we showcase the unique aspects of those characters? And maybe tie some together or develop those relationships over time. To continue playing along at home, I'm going to share a couple links with you. Here is literaryterms.net, and this is starting with character because we're starting with our characters. We need to understand the characters. But as you can see, there are many other concepts that you can read about. Yeah, hey, Puma, chat as much or as little as you'd like. You can lurk, or if you're slow on a reply, that's fine. I appreciate you being here. And if it turns more into an entertaining lecture, then hey, you know what? It's no time lost. It is no effort lost, and I hope that you can kick back and really enjoy what it is I'm talking about. And if you have questions along the way, please ask. And greetings, Kittybird the Shiny, who now appears under a pile of cloth. Just so we're starting here, and we have tapped into some other concepts. For example, this is the hero's journey. There are other ways you can go about structuring an adventure to keep it simple. This is NaNoWriMo. I'm not out here to go from, you know, a literary nobody to claiming to be a John Grisham or a Tolkien or, you know, other greats of fiction or nonfiction, etc. I want to keep it approachable and give you starting points that you can consider and go from there on your own. So we will be considering the hero's journey. That's why one of our characters is absolutely the mentor. We are going to tap back into the character archetypes in literature as well. So you can open these up in tabs. Of course, if you, you know, I don't know if you're using Chrome or not, and I hope that having 3 tabs open doesn't consume all of your RAM. But we have a couple things that we're going through, and lastly, we are going to be dipping into the classes and roles. Especially this tonight, with the a party composition. Now, together with you all in chat, we developed the hero of our story and 3 major companions through the story, through random dice rolls and your all's imagination up here. We're going to take these individuals, plural possessive, individuals' traits, and I want to show you a couple ways you can list them out in order to search for the connections. And ways that you can make notes that will help distinguish them not just with each other, but against each other. Though there was one thing that I had forgotten to do, and that's why I had opened up my PHB, my player's handbook. We rolled for the personality traits of this final character. I didn't write them down. We were in a bit of a whirlwind. So if we go back here, we're going to go to, this was Entertainer Gladiator. And let's finish meeting this character. I'm going to scoot this off to the side a bit to make it easier on me to type out. I love a good insult, even one directed at me. And 3 is, ooh, I'm a hopeless romantic. Is this like our mentor even? I wonder. Always searching for that special someone. Ideal number 3, creativity. The world is in need of new ideas and bold action. Now, this is a more cowardly character. Not cowardly, I should say, but may not want to always jump into violence. And you might go, well, but we have a monk. We have a 4 elements monk. How is that? We'll get to it. I promise. Don't worry. His bond is 4. I idolize a hero of the old tales and measure my deeds against that person's. This could even be the mentor. She's old. She's like 350 years old. So he could be following her in that sense, and that's an instant connection. And his flaw or secret is 1. I'll do anything to win fame and renown. Hi, Camp. We are going through and we're going to take the individual characters we've generated and make a party out of them. All right, so we have this, but this is going to disappear quickly, as there is one way that you can compare instances of individuality against each other. This is more of a mechanical worksheet. If we had the full, everyone's a level 1 adventurer or something, right? Maybe not everyone, because the mentor is higher up, and perhaps the older kid of the three might be like a level 2. But we would go through and we would put the characters' names. We have hero, we have support 1, we have support 2, and we have mentor. In a sense, if you really wanted to, you could even put the villain in this matchup. And we would go through the mechanics, right? What are the strength scores, the dex scores, the con, the sonar, int, whiz, charisma, their saves. And for a DM, this is great information to know, so you can try and adjust your encounters. If everyone you see has just massive armor class, you know how you can hit them, and hit them hard. It's probably not through their armor class. If we went out and we made the character and we knew all of their skills, then we can list who is proficient in which skills, party tools, language, all of this. A character that has taken on the name / standing of their own mentor. That could be, and we'll actually get to that in just a moment when we're making those connections, Puma. Don't forget that, because that could end up being that could end up being a super strong connection, following in the footsteps, right? So I don't have this information, and we could stat it out. It's not necessary at this point. Whether or not a character has a 17 strength, a 12 strength, an 11 charisma, or whatever. No, Puma, don't worry. Ask all the questions or posit theories that you would like to. You are absolutely welcome to do so. And in fact, that just shows that you're 2 steps ahead of me, which is good thinking. I want you all to actually be ahead of me in this regard. The Dread Pirate Robert kind of being passed on. Which, you know what, that's not even the pirate character that we rolled, but interesting concept. So you can go through here and make a common mechanical listings. Is it wrong I have an idea for the monk on the way they follow the mentor? No. If you have observations, hey, shout them out. I'm happy that this is a conversation. As much as it might seem to be a lecture, I don't want it to be. If you can make these connections, if you have observations, put them out there. You all think differently than I do. I can only give you one way to approach thinking about something. Just like I was talking about earlier before we got fully into the workshop, I am happy to know so many different people of different walks of life, different mentalities, different religions or lack thereof, people who support different policies and everything, when it comes to everything else in life. Because by interacting with those people, it challenges me to think. And whether or not I ultimately change my mind, well, we still can both walk away as having considered something different between us. And that's a win-win in my book. That's why I love conversations, not arguments, because no one wins an argument. Now, what we could approach in concept, the mechanics being laid out would help for sure. But there's a concept called a SWOT report. You'll often find this in business, and that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are things that would be internal to the party, controllable. These are born of the party. within the realm of the party. Opportunities and threats are externalities, is the phrase for it. These are things that are really beyond the party's control. For example, really low-hanging fruit would be, let's say that charisma was the dump stat. I'm putting in numbers. I don't know if this actually matches up. And all of the rest here might actually be stronger average. Or even if this was just, we have 8, 9, 10, 13. A weakness of the party would be charisma. Okay? If everyone was just rocking 20 strength across the board. Just swole, right? Instead of party rolls, we have party swoles. Our strength would be strength. This is something intrinsic inside of the party, controllable by the party. If we had 3 party members of the 4 that had sleight of hand, we had 2 that were good at stealth, and all 4 took acrobatics. But we had 1, 2, 0, 0, 0. We could put a strength of the party would be dex saves. A weakness of the party, or not saves. Skills, I'm sorry. Would be wisdom skills. Or, instead of a broad category, if everyone was proficient and we only had medicine with no one, medicine would be the party's weakness. Let's say of the languages everyone can speak. If everyone knew Elven, Common and Elven, a strength of the party would be Common and Elven. If nobody spoke Draconic, and Draconic ended up being an important language in the setting, we would put Draconic. So these are all things that are just inherent to the party. They are internal to it. We can go up and we can even do saves or hit points. If everyone took just not a lot of hit points by virtue of low con scores or rolling or whatever, and everyone just had like 4 hit points. Hit points is a weakness. But if they all had, 21 AC at level 1 for some reason, AC would be a strength. So hopefully you're getting that. And we can take a look at other things. If everyone here was a face, right? Everyone could talk. Everyone had social skills. Then a strength of the party wouldn't just be like charisma skills. It would just be we have faces. Everyone's a face. Everyone can love us or be duped by us. But if we had no one with healing magic, then a weakness to the party would be healing magic. Stupid idea because they are a hopeless romantic. They could see the mentor as, I don't know, a thing about the mentor, so take this with a grain of salt. The icon of what they see is a special someone and are trying to earn that renown to get them to accept them, but that could be part of the story of them realizing it isn't the mentor, but it could be someone else they aren't noticing. No. Hey, believe in these gut reactions keys. That could be the case. So hold on to that. Hold on to that. Yeah, a good number of the Rebirth party has a high AC and a high wisdom. So Coffee Cat knows how to adjust the scale of various situations. If it's not as threatening, then when the encounter starts, go after AC and the characters can enjoy some, tink, 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 tink. Or some magic resistance or something. Though Coffee can take a look at that same worksheet and go, they have the smoothest of brains, and I am going to exploit that. And now all of a sudden, attacking intelligence will escalate. It will put more pressure on the party to adapt, overcome, etc. Now, what would be some externalities for opportunities and threats? If we come up here and we find that, down here, because we have name, class, let's say that we had a wizard, a cleric, a bard, and a sorcerer. An opportunity would be anything with magic, right? If they have to study magic, uncover magic, detect magic, cast magic, if an opportunity that you as the DM are presenting to them, if it's magical, boom, they got it, they're on it like a bonnet, and there we go. A threat, however, could be wild magic. Everyone's powers goes haywire. Wild, or even no magic, null magic, anti-magic. Because now they've been stripped of their magic because of whatever's going on in the story. That's a threat to the party. If you can no longer wield phenomenal cosmic power and you just go back to being, a dude, that raises the stakes. That amplifies the tension of the story, let alone if we're talking about presenting a campaign. Your players are going to feel that when all of a sudden half their character sheet, which is their spell book or whatever, is gone. And now they have to get by with just their wits or stealth or physicality, and maybe they don't have as good a physical character. It doesn't mean that the situation is impossible, unless, I guess, the DM sets them up to go against an impossible situation. I'll leave that be for the context of your all's tables. But you can lean into the opportunities and threats by studying the mechanics of your party. Now, what I put up here, this does not have a bearing necessarily on what we've generated, but I feel that if I don't present this to you, I might be missing an opportunity to give you something fun to think about. And ultimately, because I'll post this up on our Discord, a worksheet that you can fill out on your own. Does it look the prettiest? No. Does it work? Yes, especially when you understand how the worksheet is supposed to function and what you can do with the worksheet. And if you're familiar with SWOT, if you're familiar with some things you lay out, like maybe party languages is just not important. You as a DM know that nowhere they go is going to ever be a language issue. So replace party languages instead of party tools. Party languages ends up becoming party background features. And you list those out for separate mechanical consideration. Because background features can do some pretty awesome stuff for your characters. And I feel a little bit off because the playtest material for 1D&D has diminished the role of backgrounds, or rather altered, maybe not diminished. Arguably it's enhanced because there's a lot more hard mechanics on the background of character creation with the 1D&D Unearthed Arcana playtest material. But the reason why that came about, as it was brought up in chat by Sprig and others, Kobold Sprig, is because many people didn't see or use backgrounds as anything but mechanics. And it was, in comparison to race and class, it was probably the weakest leg of the three-legged stool upon which your character sits. Is I get a couple skills and background feature, whatever. I'll just always, why do I need to know I can go to people's houses for refuge and sleep and meals? I'll just buy it, or it'll just never come up in the course of the story. And so in 1D&D, there's some more mechanics that are like hard mechanics that have been baked into the background. But you know what? It's not out yet. If you're watching this in the future and when D&D is out, I hope it's good and I hope it's fun. And maybe we're doing workshops. I'm going to suspect we're going to do workshops in it, but I don't know. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So this is one way you can take a look at a party. That's not the only way you can look at the party. Here is another way. And this is going to lean heavily into what we already know about the characters. So we're going to go back to a vertical look, and then we're going to switch back to what we had. So we have our hero, right? What's a synopsis of our hero? This could offer some mechanics. For instance, we know that we have a lawful evil, young adult, she's 12, half-orc, so actually I'll move that kind of off screen. That way we can feature that a little bit better. Half-orc bard, specifically Valor, who is a guild merchant from, that's a smith or a metalworker. Let's copy this info over. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Now, I will say, the way that I'm presenting these notes, this is how I've developed them. I don't have... This isn't a sponsorship. I don't have a sponsorship with places, but there are writing tools like World Anvil, or I think it's called Campfire. There's some other places that let you track notes and can build links between characters and present things in other ways. You can make it as expensive or convoluted, or as inexpensive and simple as you want. From the baseline, I want to keep this as accessible and simple as possible, because I don't know the time or resources that you all have to be able to put into whatever it is that you want to put into your own novels, your own campaigns, your own thought experiments and processes. But there are writing tools and other things out there that can help with this process. It's just, in this case, you know, that this is a kind of the freebie. And if you don't want to use Microsoft Office Word, use OpenOffice. It's free to download. Install it on your computer. You have a powerful suite of word processing and calculator pages and everything. You can do this in OpenOffice as well. In fact, the very first sets of these style of worksheets were in OpenOffice to try and make this even more accessible to you all out there. All right, we have our second character. And we can go through as well. In fact, maybe should I? Well, I'll come back to it, because I'm going to go over what you might just commonly find on the sheets, the character sheets of these characters. And then we can add in some details in the third step to this. Because when you are a DM, your players are going to be handing you their character sheets with all of this filled in. And so this is super easy for you, because all you have to do is copy and paste, and then compare and look around. Excellent. Now we are going to go real quick and get a little bit more, just a few more notes here. The sage. The magician. Now, we didn't quite give a particular role to the mentor or the hero. And so let's take a look real quick at our hero. That's the villain. So we have someone she's young, and we know that she grew up in a smithing family. She had an accident where she was missing, is missing 2 fingers, was probably ousted from working behind the scenes and learning the craft to just selling it at the front desk. Great with children, enunciates overly clearly, though she's hot-tempered. We have someone who is growing up. She sees herself perhaps not as a full person because of her missing fingers, because she has a disability of some kind. She's hot-tempered. She wants to prove herself. I like to talk at length about my profession. I'm a snob who looks down on others. Generosity. My talents were given to me so that I could use them to benefit the world. She is full of herself. She is hungry to prove herself to the world. I'll get revenge on the evil forces that destroyed my place of business and ruined my livelihood. That could be where the fingers might have even been lost. A flaw or secret. I'm horribly jealous of anyone who can outshine my handiwork. Everywhere I go, I'm surrounded by rivals. Right? We rolled lawful evil. She's selfish. Right? She is full of jealousy and anger at something that probably was very embarrassing for her And it hurt, right? She lost fingers. She carries that guilt with her, among the family expectations and among just growing up, going through puberty. This is from a young adult writing standpoint. So these are all things that we can discuss and write about. She knew both her parents, who were half-orcs themselves, and raised her. She was born in a temple and has no siblings. She was raised in a modest lifestyle in an apartment in a rundown neighborhood. From childhood, others saw her as being different or strange, and that's probably due to the fingers. I had a few companions, or friends. I became a smith, or in this case, works in the smithy at the front desk, because of my family members who belonged to the guild, made a place for me. I became a bard because I joined one of the great colleges, so she was sent off to learn. She was sent off, maybe she's the first one in her family to go to college or something, right? They saved, they smithed, and they want to give her an opportunity, especially because, being sent to a proper school and not just the school of hard knocks, that's smithing school, right? Might help to temper her anger and to give her an opportunity elsewhere. Let's see. I joined one of the great colleges to learn old lore, the secrets of magic, and the art of performance. And why not? Why shouldn't I have a Braxit?
Why not? Why shouldn't I have a Braxat? One Braxat from the orphanage for me.
All right, Osric. I'll make sure that gets pulled for you tomorrow as well when Dark Wolf and I are there. Yeah, I'm sorry. Coffee was talking about Google Docs. You can use Google Docs. Afro Rob, hey, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming back. All right, have a good night, Craigar, if you didn't already take off. Oh, you got to go for now? Hey, Puma, please be sure to join us on Discord as well if you haven't. And yeah, this is outlining a fantasy novel using concepts from Dungeons and Dragons as a basis, as a way for us to communicate similar ideas and to get points across more easily. Because I don't want this to feel like some esoteric thing that's unapproachable to anyone. If we usually get together and talk about D&D, let's use that as the platform, or as a springboard into the topic of novel writing from the perspective of role-playing. So we have a character who is hot-tempered, someone who wants to prove herself. She's eager to do so. And which character type might fit into this? It could end up being the hero. Our hero could be the hero. Their weaknesses include overconfidence and hubris. Right? Some famous heroes are Achilles, Luke Skywalker, and Wonder Woman. I don't think that she's the lover. I don't think that she would, that she's necessarily an outlaw. Not just through criminality, but through the attitude, right? The strengths and the weaknesses of an outlaw. The explorer could work as well. They're curious, driven, and motivated by self-improvement. They are weak in that they are restless, unreliable, and never satisfied. Famous explorers include Odysseus, Sal Paradise, and Huckleberry Finn. I could make a strong argument that our hero would fit the explorer archetype. Or archetype, if you prefer. The innocent, while we do have a younger kid, with how she grew up and her injuries and her schooling, I don't think she's too guarded, necessarily, to be vulnerable. And while she's naive in the fact she hasn't learned a lot of things just due to her age, I don't see her as an innocent character. I could make an argument for the creator, especially having that smithy background. A motivated visionary who creates art or structures during the narrative. Their strengths include creativity, willpower, and conviction. That seems to really speak to her. Their weaknesses include self-involvement, single-mindedness, and lack of practical skills. So this could be a strong argument for, instead of just explorer, we might have a creator. I did tickle the idea of a ruler. A character with legal or emotional power over others. The ruler's strengths include omnipotence, status, and resources. Their weaknesses include aloofness, being disliked by others, and always seeming out of touch. I think there is an aloofness, but this is a weaker candidate for a character archetype for our hero. I don't think she's a caregiver type. Constantly supports others and makes sacrifices on their behalf. I think she is too headstrong for that. Everyman, a relatable character who feels recognizable from daily life. When it comes to strengths, they're grounded, salt of the earth, and relatable. In terms of weaknesses, they lack special powers and are often unprepared for what's to come. The Everyman is a classic hero archetype. This is a strong contender as well. Jester, I don't necessarily think that this is going to fit her either. Yeah, please do, Puma. You are welcome to share your stories here. So, I don't know. Would you all say, from what we had reviewed, would our main character be more of an everyman? Would she be more of a creator? Or would she be more of an explorer with her personality that we've been able to bring up? And mind you, the story is going to be pretty much brought up through her perceptions and her interactions with others. And so the archetype is going to color that experience, is going to filter the information we get as a reader through our hero. I would probably put her as an explorer, though I will make the note of that. If you feel differently, then let me know. Let's talk about it. Then lastly, we have the mentor. Now, what did we learn about the mentor? The mentor, we have an ancient, neutral, evil, female hill dwarf, nature cleric, valor bard, who is a gladiator entertainer. Distinctive nose, expert cook, prone to singing, whistling, or humming quietly. She has a very honest and unvarnished interaction. She loves a good insult, even one directed at her. She's a hopeless romantic as well. You know, you go get it, Grandma. Greed, I'm only in it if the money for the money and fame. I'll do anything to prove myself superior to my hated rival. Despite my best efforts, I'm unreliable to my friends. Oh. We might have seen that somewhere. Now, that is the explorer for the unreliability, but we have someone who is in a position of power and influence. And if we go back here, that might be the ruler, a character with legal or emotional power over others. The ruler's strengths include omnipotence, status, and resources. Her weaknesses include aloofness, being disliked by others, and always seeming out of touch. That could be very strong for, an older woman leading a group of young adults on this adventure, and with selfish intentions. Now, there's nothing saying, by the way, that we can't have two magicians, two heroes. And in fact, I might even make the argument that we have someone who's overconfident and full of hubris. Our mentor could be like the fallen hero, an anti-hero. And so our mentor might actually end up being more of an antagonist or a foil in some way, who rises to meet a challenge and ultimately saves the day. We might go with Lover. She's guided by her heart. The strengths include humanism, passion, and conviction, though of course that is inward, as she has more of a selfish bend. Weaknesses include naivete. Nah, I think she's been around the block, so maybe not the archetype of the lover. A concept of a lover might work. But oh, the outlaw might be able to work too. Independent thinking and skepticism. Their weaknesses include self-involvement and criminality. So the outlaw could be a strong mentor as well. I don't know. Do you like the concept of the old retired hero or the anti-hero as the archetype, or maybe as the ruler? Because she's probably you don't live that long without making enemies. She might be that out of touch from the perspective of the kids as well. She might be a ruler. If she's brutally honest, that kind of skepticism might just be what does it. Anything to prove myself superior. I'm in it for the money and fame. Maybe the ruler is where we're going to go with this. All right. Now, what do we have here? We have a very easy way. Yep, keys. Yep. I appreciate it. We have a very easy way that we can go back and forth and take a look at some of the commonalities between our heroes. If you're more of a text-based learner, this setup, or like learner or absorber of information, this might work really, really well for you. Because now you have everything spread out on pages, or if you do this physically, you can print them out. You know that old like conspiracy board where you have the big cork board and you post up the paper and the photos and the magazine articles and the lists, and then you string them together? You can do that physically if you want, right? In an electronic format, we have this, and a couple techniques here to show off is highlight the things that you think could be connections between the characters. Because you might go, wait a minute, our heroes, right? The people we follow through this story as a young adult novel are lawful evil, neutral good, chaotic evil, and neutral evil? What the heck? How is this gonna work? And why would a neutral good character ever be caught within the realm of the mentor who is neutral evil? Because there's probably a lot of other things that are contributing factors. Alignment itself is not one basis to include or exclude someone, right? Your alignment is what happens after the hand or mouth filter. That, you know, from your brain to your mouth, brain to your hand. It's what manifests after that. Where neutral good is generally selfless. Someone who's, you know, she wants to experience life. She is someone who wants to, is more selfless than selfish. But I don't know. Think about the number of people in your life as friends, family, as significant others to some degree, as children. And in fact, we're writing young adult. In many instances, if we don't look at evil as someone who burns down orphanages and kicks puppies in the street, children are often selfish. I hope that's not a shock, because they don't necessarily know better, and they know that if I eat candy, I feel good and it's tasty. Or I want this, I want to do this, I am going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. And that's where we get a lot of the tantrums or, staunch whatever behavior. Many children, despite being innocent, in a sense, are selfish, and it is a form, if we're looking at just the broad labels of the 9 alignments in D&D, many children can be seen as evil because it's them first. They don't know better, or they'll do things even with innocence that would be, cruel to animals, but they thought it was funny. If you say an intent, well, what's the intent is what makes it evil. I'm okay. I get that. I want to deliver a broad something to get you to think. Maybe I'll drop a hot take, something spicy, and we can have a back and forth, or at least jar some conversation to go on. But we have a person who actually might be more timid. While her language is foul, she doesn't really talk that much from the other things that we had discussed with her character. It's not in this, but she's more shy or reserved. And so you have someone, especially in a party full of strong personalities. She might actually just feel kind of bullied or cowed. Let's see. Low charisma. She's great with animal, but she whispers. She's friendly. She's someone who will come into her mighty power, but is not starting off strong with it. But a very reserved person, a person pulled in several directions, who's unsure. And if any of you are the only introvert around friends or family that are extroverts, that might be another example. And so we have this as a quality of this character. We have an introverted character who is surrounded by extroverts. And even if she doesn't think that something is right, she may very well be cowed in going along with it. Not necessarily as a willful accomplice, but whatever happens, she's going to be a part of it, because otherwise she might be left out. And in her thinking, maybe it's better to not be alone and to, possibly get into trouble than it is to be alone and, and to do what she feels is the morally correct thing to do. Especially if one of these people is a presumed authority figure who's, leading them into this risky adventure that could see them get hurt or in trouble or whatever, whatever terminology you want. Because again, we're sticking to the realm of young adult. So we're not talking about, if they go into the cave of skeletons, we're probably not getting into detail about the gore and the grit and, if a combat breaks out, we're not talking about how the dry bones pierce the soft flesh with scarlet blood gushing forth. The arterial spray absolutely covering her animal companion. We're probably not going to do that in young adult. But we can describe tense situations, or we can use verbiage like that. And so we have our character who is a bit bullied, and as part of her development can end up coming out of her shell. Now, if you're doing if you're doing highlighting, you can do things like, so we have a Valor Bard here, and wouldn't you know, being a Valor Bard might very well go into the fact that we have a Valor Bard as the mentor. Maybe this is indicating that they met in their bardic college. But, what also could go into that is the fact that part of the routines or part of the curriculum could be entertainer, and in specificity, a gladiator. And wouldn't you know, not only is this bundled together with the mentor, we can draw an association to our sage, who is also an entertainer. And this is probably how all of these characters ended up. Now, we don't have a direct connection here with the magician, at least through background, or not through I don't know, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like race or class. Though something that could be drawn in is the fact that, I guess, whenever she speaks up, because she has a very low charisma, she might be seen as a troubled kid and get in trouble, even though she's not a troubled kid. If her language is as foul as an Audiug nest, we have a teacher or a mentor that loves a good insult, and maybe she takes in the bad kids. And we have someone who's been labeled as a bad kid that's not a bad kid. But because she doesn't speak up, and others, she's always an accomplice to someone else, she might have fallen through and is ended up now in the care of this mentor going out on this adventure. And now we have a connection, at least between this character and the mentor. However, the other classmates, and both of these classmates are older than the main character, so they've probably known each other for a bit and have been under the tutelage of this mentor together when our main character falls into this class. But there's already a comfort. And can you already imagine some of the lines, some of the words, some of the things that these three share? And it's not that she can't enjoy a good insult. She's probably heard a lot, given the fact that she works in a smithy. Let's take a look real quick as well, because there are some attributes to our hero. Hot-tempered, enunciates overly clearly. That hot-tempered might go with the insult, or even we just link it in with the smith or metal worker. Because if you've worked in a kitchen, you'll hear some things, and if you work in a blacksmith shop, you're gonna hear some things. So we can actually just go here, not even through Guild Merchant. Let's highlight just the fact that she grew up in an environment where, bad language wasn't a rarity. And so you can find in a wordy way, a method that you can use in order to find these connections and answer that question of, how would a neutral good character be in the company of evil characters? And we've actually just done a great job of humanizing this fantasy character, because again, how many of you out there either were or knew the quiet kid, or the kid that always got in trouble despite being a good kid, but he or she was just always drawn into a situation, or was bullied or coerced, or something had happened? In fact, we might even connect Sailor Pirate to the language issue as well. There we go. Capo and Osric, with your powers combined, you each have a mighty Braxit. And yeah, Keys, you're correct. What we might have here is a mentor who has made a particular bond with the monk, because we have the old wise woman who is trying to teach techniques. You know, like, hey, look, I'm going to give you life advice. You want to find someone you like, and she's going to be very practical and very outspoken about it. And that could end up being a bond between them, because he might look up to her, you know, because we were having fun, like, he's the Molgoth kid. You know, he's the edgelord. You know, I'm so chaotic evil, guys. Come on. You know, plays with fire, you know, always carries a lighter, has the spiked bangs going down, or whatever, you know. And so you have this troubled kid who looks up to a mentor who's giving very practical advice. And so we have someone here who is trying to reach out to other people through this facade and is getting the advice, but, you know, obviously the mentor's advice might not be accurate to the generation in which this elf is growing up. But that could still be something. You know, how do they want to connect with people? I mean, both being evil is a connection. Keys, yes. But again, alignment alone is not a strong connection, especially between evil forces, as evil might play together if there's a common enough pursuit. But many times, evil is antagonistic to itself. And it's very rare to find someone who wakes up in the morning going, yes, I'm evil, and I'm going to do evil things. Mwah. I mean, maybe you'll get the Joker, who actually rationalizes that and accepts it as a part of who he is. But yeah, you can go through this method, and there's a lot more we can put, but I wanted to demonstrate this with you. And I'm going to get up and take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to use a more visual way to go about this and organize our notes about how to look at the party and how it can work together and flow together, and a way for you to get ideas in how the interactions can work, or if something happens to one part of the party, how it might affect or not affect the others. So stick with me. I'm going to get up. I'm going to take a little walkabout. You know, get a snack or something, and I will come back. If any of you want capsules, I'll pull them, and then we'll get right back into the workshop. So be patient, everyone. I'll see you soon.